Today, we are recording from my restaurant, Commonwealth Kitchen and Bar, and we are sitting at the bar top with Jordan, Earl, and some Suntory Hibiki whiskey. I thought this would be appropriate because Jordan was my one of my business partners at 441 Main, not 456 like the address here, 441 Main, the nightclub. And prior to that, we met through friends partying and realized that he was some sort of sales guru, dare I say. And yeah, then we got involved together at 441. And since then, he's had a crazy journey. I guess it's been 12 years since we know each other pretty much, or maybe
Has it been that long?
11 or 12 years. So welcome to my podcast. Thanks for being on it.
Well, thank you. I was honored to be asked.
I would want to get into your story a little bit because you have quite an interesting story, having lived, traveled for work across Canada. Before that, you're in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe let's start, how did your career path start?
Sure. I was in university at the U of M. I was in first year of business. Well, I guess like pre-business school, University 1. I wanted to get into Asper. And I was walking through campus one day and I saw this booth on the second floor of University Center. It was yellow and it had red writing on it. And there was a young woman sitting at it. She said, "Hey, come over," because I was kind of looking what's going on. And I had no idea what it was. And turns out it was a booth where they were talking about this business where young men and women at university could come and work with them and run their own student painting business. Okay. It was College Pro Painters.
Okay, yeah.
And I had never really heard about it, but I kind of checked it out. And that was kind of the start of my path into entrepreneurship at 18 years old, running a small student painting franchise in St. James in Winnipeg, being taught by the gurus at College Pro Painters how to sell paint jobs and find business and talk to homeowners and get them to trust me at 18 years old to get a bunch of other 18 years old kids to come paint their house.
Sweet. So I know quite a few people who have done College Pro, and a lot of them end up just leaving that as a university job. They graduate and they go on to whatever the career has been. But then it seems like maybe you might have done fairly well at it, enough to convince you that a sales path was the right choice, or what happened after that?
It was like a spark for me. It sparked an interest in entrepreneurship. I was not very good at teaching other young men and women how to go paint houses and get them done and have happy customers.
Yeah.
Sorry if any of my old customers are watching. We tried really hard. I don't know that we did that great a job, but we certainly tried. But I did start to develop really a lifelong interest in selling and sales.
Yeah.
And the way that we did in College Pro, they taught us to go out and knock on people's doors, find people who were willing to have us come do a quote to paint their house, and then go back a few days later and do the quote and try and sell them the paint job. And so I started to build some skill in that area of the business, even if maybe I didn't do a great job of building it in the other areas of the business.
So you weren't a great painter. But
I was actually a pretty good painter myself.
Okay.
And
but you weren't good at training the other painter?
Dude, I just wasn't good at running a business.
Okay.
I was 18 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old. I did it for 3 summers.
Yeah.
And I was just not ready to run my own business. And that level of responsibility that comes with that, and being responsible for payroll and doing it right, and making sure people got paid on time, and showing up at people's houses to paint it when we said we would, with all the paint and equipment that we needed.
Fair.
Yeah, I wasn't good at that. And I think that's kind of the point of College Pro or other businesses like that. Because College Pro doesn't paint houses anymore.
Okay.
They do window washing still.
Oh.
So they transitioned, but there's other companies that kind of picked up that baton. So other student painting companies, and they kind of have that same model where they bring on usually young university students and teach them how to run their own small student painting business. And so I think it was exceptional experience for me. I learned how hard it really was and what it took. And I developed some sales skills, but never got great at really running a painting business. I was a pretty good painter though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I still paint a straight cut line to this day.
Did you end up graduating from university then?
Well, that story is a little bit of a longer answer. So the short answer is no.
Okay.
No, I did not graduate from university. Sorry, Dad. Sorry, Mom. So after a few years of College Pro, there was this one guy who I'd gotten to know over the years, and he actually did the exact same thing found about it in the exact same way in Regina,
Okay.
where he was studying education at the University of Regina. And so we kind of met over a period of a couple of years when they'd get us together for like these training events and like these midsummer like camping events that they'd kind of
Yeah.
take us on, building culture in the organization, which was cool. And then like year-end awards. And so after my third year of college pro and his second year of college pro, it just so happened that we were both kind of done with that phase of our lives and we were going to move on to something else. I actually had lined up a job bartending part-time. I never started it because the bar hadn't yet opened. And I was going to take some summer classes, work on graduating early, and then go work with my old man at Investors Group, where he'd been at that point for, geez, I don't know, 15 or 20 years.
Okay.
He's still there to this day. And so that was kind of my plan. I had it all laid out. And so this guy that I had met in College Pro Painters and gotten to know over a couple of years, he calls me up one day and he's like, "Hey, Jordan, I know you're done with College Pro, but I found this other job. Curious if it might interest you. They're hiring." It's like, "Well, what is it?" He's like, "Well, we're going to knock on doors and sell pest control services in Jacksonville, Florida." And I was like, "Sounds terrible. No, thank you. But thanks for thinking of me."
Yeah.
I got a job lined up. And so he kind of worked on me over a period of about a month or so. And eventually I did decide that I wanted to go try it.
What was like because you were very much a big no. What did it take for you was there a convincing factor?
Opening my mind a little bit, I guess. Recognizing that I could do this for 1 year, that this didn't have to be a career path for me, but this could be an experience, a chance to take some of the sales skills that I developed at College Pro Painters, apply them to this other business where I didn't have to worry about billing and customer service and actually going out and producing the paint jobs, in this case, pest control. I didn't have to do any of that. My only job was to knock on the door, speak to the person, sell them the service. And so I kind of liked the sound of that and thought maybe I could be good at it.
Yeah. And were you?
Not at first. No. I remember my first day like it was yesterday. Went out knocking doors. I could probably find the neighborhood if you dumped me in the middle of Jacksonville, Florida, to this day, still 20 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going out in the morning and just being like so excited, just full of energy, and just getting like a ton of people who were super interested. I remember meeting up with Brendan like midway through the day. I'm sorry, I was bearing the lead. The guy that I met there, the guy who called me up and who had done College Pro with, his name was Brendan Quinlan.
And you still work with him?
No? Yeah, he and I are still business partners to this day.
Yeah.
Closest friends. I've been to his weddings. He's been to like my baby showers, like that kind of thing. We've had a really strong relationship over the last 22 years now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he kind of convinced me to come down that first summer with him. And I remember after the first 4 or 5 hours knocking doors, we kind of met up for our midday break and we were like, "How'd it go?" "Well, I didn't get any." "How'd it go for you?" "I didn't get any, but dude, I talked to like 5 people who are definitely going to sign up. They just said I just need to come back tomorrow when their wife is going to be there or after they've had a chance to think about it," or whatever the kind of reason was. And we were like, "Dude, this is going to be so easy." We're like high-fiving. We're like freaking like chest bumping. We're like, "We're going to make so much money. We're going to be amazing at this. Okay, let's do the afternoon or kind of evening shift, second half of our day. Go out knocking." We each got like one legitimate sale where we like actually signed the customer to sign the contract. But more importantly, we had another 5 people who were like, "Dude, if you come back tomorrow." And so at the end of the day, I remember we were just like so thrilled, so excited. We'd each made an actual sale. But more importantly, we had like 10 people that were like fully going to do it if we just came back tomorrow. And so the next day we went back like so excited, and geez, like freaking blinds are being pulled shut, lights are being turned off on houses, welcome mats are being pulled in from inside under the door.
They're like, "Oh no, he actually came back."
And like, maybe I exaggerate, but I just remember being so confused, just being like, I don't understand. Like they said they would do it. Like we just need to come back. Like after they'd spoken to their spouse or after they'd thought about it or looked us up online or checked our reviews or whatever it was. And we realized really quickly that maybe the job wasn't going to be quite as easy as we thought it was, and that we were going to have to figure out a way to get people's attention right then and there. And if we were going to make sales, we were going to have to do it on the doorstep while we had them there.
Yeah.
And so we went about starting to learn.
So how long do you think it took you to become to the level where you consider yourself good?
Where I was good at it?
Yeah. Better than average, let's say.
Probably like 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like 4 months of going out doing it 6 days a week. Felt like I started to build some proficiency. Also having come in with 3 years of sales experience.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. It
So
wasn't
you
really
already had
that
the experience
different.
in College Pro.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just adapting to
It was a different sale though, right? Like
Yeah.
we'd knock on the doors and we were just trying to find people who would let us come back later and give them a quote.
Yeah.
We'd make the appointment. We'd sit down with them at the kitchen table. walk around the house, figure out what it would cost to paint, and then try and sell them that paint job. And so very different than knocking on someone's door, giving them a 2, 3, 4, 5 minute sales pitch,
Yeah.
and then expecting them to sign a contract and hand over a credit card right then and there on the doorstep.
Yeah.
And so that took some adjustment.
So about 4 months.
About 4 months, yeah. By the end of that first 4 months, I was like top third of kind of the leaderboard in my office.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other young men and women in that office, and some of them had experience, some of them didn't. I wasn't the top,
Yeah.
but Brennan and I each kind of had this goal for that first summer where we each wanted to do 200 sales during the summer.
Okay.
So Brennan actually hit it by the end of August. He hit his 200.
Yeah.
And then he had to go back, and he was going to be doing his teaching practicum where he was actually going to be in a classroom doing some teaching to finish up his education degree.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like going into my second year of or third year of business school at that point. And so I wasn't really loving that. Honestly, with College Pro, I'd kind of been distracted and it hadn't gotten my full attention. And so I decided to put off that semester and stay a little bit longer. And
so he went back and you stayed.
Yeah, he went back and I stayed. And I stayed through the month of September, and I had my best month of the summer. I was the only one there. Sales managers were gone. Other sales reps were gone. My roommate, companion, friend, colleague, coworker, Brendan was gone. And I was basically just by myself.
So you pretty much had the city to yourself in a way too.
I had it to myself, but like moreover, I just like I didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah, so you're like,
there was nothing else to do. I didn't
know.
know anyone there. And I just had to go out and knock on doors every day. And so I did about 100, a little over 100 sales in that month of September.
Sweet.
And the 4 months leading up to that, I'd done about 175.
Okay.
So it was a very good September. I stayed a little bit into October. I did another 40 sales in the first third or so of October. And I went back after that first season, and not a great start and not an exceptional summer, but a really good like last month and a bit. And I ended up being the top rookie in the company that year.
So that kind of gave you like the little, like the validation, I guess, that you needed to be like, okay, maybe.
For sure.
Yeah.
Confidence, validation, money.
Yeah.
I made great money. I made more money than I'd ever made in my entire life in like a summer. I probably made as much money that summer as I'd made in the previous 2 or 3 years combined.
Crazy. Okay.
So I did really well. I sold a lot. And moreover, I started to see like, hey, maybe this could be something that I could do for more than just one summer and go back to school. And so I came back to Canada, spent the winter going around recruiting, meeting other university students. None of my friends wanted to do it. So I had to like go onto campuses and
you went back
find
to school
people.
and started recruiting people to go back to the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Were you bringing them back to Jacksonville, or is this a
Yeah.
different? Okay.
Yeah. So Brendan and I, we went to work in the second semester, and we kind of did a tour around prairie campuses and Winnipeg and Saskatchewan, and handed out flyers and set up tables on campuses and met a bunch of other young students. And between us, I think we got about 20 other young men and women to come down to Jacksonville with us that next summer and try what we had tried.
And I'm assuming you were incentivized to get.
Yeah, they paid us. I think at that time they were paying us about $1,000 a head.
Okay.
So I think we each made like $10,000 in like
Sweet.
recruiting.
So you went back, made a little bit of money.
Yeah, made a little bit of money in the winter, got some other people interested in the job, and brought them down, and went down for round 2.
Sweet. So what happened round 2?
Round 2 was good. Round 2, honestly, I performed about the same as I did my first year.
Yeah.
So I did very well. I wasn't the top rep, but it seemed that I could have success in this. And then it was after that, and going into that third year, that Brendan and I decided we were going to start our own business doing this. And so we went about
that was after year 3, you said?
After 2 years of working with that company. It was called Service Pro Lawn and Pest Control.
Yeah.
It was run by 2 guys who I still work with today, named Shannon Cole and Tom Karen.
Okay.
And so they were the principals, the 2 kind of main owners, big guys of that business in the States.
Situated in Florida, or was
yes.
Okay.
So that company had 6 branches in Florida, and then a branch in Dallas and Austin, Texas.
Okay, cool.
So they were very regional in that area, and it was a good-sized company, but not a massive company. They had actually built up a company a few years prior and actually sold it the year before I started doing this. They'd made a whole bunch of money, and then so when I came down that first year, it was a brand new company.
So they sold a similar company.
They bit the exact same thing. It was,
I guess there was no clause where they couldn't.
Well, they actually had to go to a different area. So they had been operating in different states, and so they went to Florida where they hadn't been before, and they opened up brand new. And so I actually remember showing up the first day that first year, and they were like literally assembling the desks in the office, and I was just like,
you guys are like the first.
I was like, oh God, what did I get myself into here? Thank goodness it turned out to be real, just new, but they also weren't new to the industry. It was just a new company because they had
Yeah.
sold the old one. So
So
so after 2 years, we started our own and we left them and we started our own business called Go Green Lawn and Pest Control
yeah.
in Austin, Texas.
Okay. Why did you guys pick Austin?
Oh man, I think I don't know. It's
'Cause
not like
that's a
we
tough
didn't do
thing.
we didn't do like a
I was,
bunch of detailed
I was
market
gonna say
research.
you guys were from Winnipeg, Canada. You tried randomly ended up in Florida, and then you picked Texas as your first location.
Dude, we were like, I don't know, it's hot. Um, there's like seems to be a good need for the service. It seems like a cool city. There's good
Yeah. Up and
population.
coming,
The
maybe.
competition. There was competition there. There was other companies offering similar services, but it wasn't crazy. So I don't know. We kind of took a flyer. How did we decide?
Mm.
I don't know. I'll tell you what. We probably didn't put nearly as much thought into it as we should have.
Did it pay off though?
It went okay.
Yeah.
It didn't go like amazing. I actually couldn't even go down the first year. I couldn't get my US work permit. It didn't come through. I had troubles with that. So actually Brendan and two other young guys that we convinced to come do this with us,
Yeah.
Rob Mintenko and Zach Campbell were their names. They actually ended up going down there and I stayed stuck here in Winnipeg and I kind of worked remotely on my computer and phone as best I could. Remote working was a heck of a lot harder in 2009 than it is in 2026, but I did the very best I could. And I didn't get down until the next year, actually. So I actually got stuck up here in Winnipeg for a year and to help pay my bills that year because I wasn't drawing any salary from the company because I wasn't there and it was
Did you go
brand
back
new.
to College Pro?
Dude, I didn't go back to College Pro, but I went back to painting some houses.
Okay.
I was doing some side jobs here,
Just to
just going painting some
manage.
houses off on my own to literally just pay my bills
Yeah.
because I was running this business, but I wasn't there. I wasn't drawing any
Couldn't make some
income from
sales,
it. And I had to make truck payments.
Yeah, fair enough.
I was living at home, so my bills were very modest, but I still
needed some
still
money.
had some bills. Yeah.
So if hindsight was 2020, like back then, knowing what you know now, what would have been the city that you think would have been the best one to actually start in?
Dude, I don't know. Well, I mean, knowing what I know now,
Yeah.
Canada.
Okay, so
Dude,
just
Toronto, Vancouver, here, Winnipeg.
Why
like,
is this better than because you think somewhere in the States people maybe are more loose with their money, more money in general?
yeah, I don't know if people have more money or not in the U.S. than Canada. I guess that's a tough one. I know the cost of living's a lot less.
Yeah.
But so we did come to Canada, as you know.
How long did it take you before you came to
10 years. Yeah. We
So you guys
operated
were in
in
the
the
States for
US
10
for
years.
10 years. We had branches that we'd opened and sold in Chicago, Illinois, Austin, Texas. We opened in Dallas, Texas. We ended up reforming a relationship with the guys who ran the company, Service Pro, Shannon Cole and Tom Karen.
Yeah.
We did a marketing contract with them through another big company in the United States that they had a contract with called Terminex. So we'd go out and knock doors and actually sell services on behalf of Terminex
Yeah.
rather than our own pest control company. And so we kind of did that for like 10 years where we had some offices where we sold for other companies. We worked with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different companies over the years selling services, pest control services for them. And then also at the same time, always had 1 or 2 of our own branches that we sold services for to kind of try and build that up again.
What did that growth look like? So you said you were going for 10 years. It sounds like you expanded to a bunch of different cities. Was it like you started with one city?
Dude, it was painful.
Yeah.
It was painful. We didn't know the first thing about running a pest control company.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll never forget, like 3 months in, I checked the bank accounts and I'm like, dude, where is all this money? I've got all this money that I show we've done in sales and production, and we've gone out there and done these services. So what we were selling was residential recurring pest control service. So individual homeowners would hire us to come out to their house on a regular basis every 2 or 3 months and treat for ants and spiders and mice and wasps and in Florida, cockroaches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And after like 2 or 3 months, I was like, dude, where's all the money? And I go into the software that I'm still learning how to use. I'm like, oh God, we got credit cards declining. People aren't paying their bills.
Yeah.
Turns out we need an accounts receivable department, which
So
we had just like literally not really thought of. We just like kind of thought if people signed up and said they would pay, that they would.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, we need a department to handle this because half of our money has not actually been paid to us. Well, it wasn't half, but it was enough that it hurt.
Yeah.
So lots of growing pains, dude. Every mistake that one could make in business, certainly a home service business, we made every mistake.
So you guys truly learned by experience,
dude. We've been sued. We've had technicians crash trucks into people's freaking houses.
Yeah.
Had a technician decide it was a good idea to get drunk and drive our company vehicle that he used down a hill, jump a curb and lodge it in somebody's living room of their house. Thank goodness no one was hurt by the grace of God.
Yeah.
After that, we realized that we should probably run background checks on our employees. We should probably do criminal checks. Turned out he had a DUI or two already,
Yeah.
which we didn't know
And he thought
because we
he
didn't
clearly didn't learn his lesson.
we didn't do that. We didn't have GPS trackers on the trucks. We got
Yeah.
those after that. And so,
Yeah.
we learned the hard way these lessons that now we think about and they just seem like so obvious. But we didn't have anyone to learn from. We went out on our own.
Yeah.
And if I had that to do over again, I think the thing I would have done differently is I might have tried to have built a business with the owners of that first business that we had
Have
worked
them as
with.
partners or
Yeah, rather than
guide
going
them.
out on our own, because like we were convinced we'd be millionaires in 18 months,
Yeah.
right? Like every young
'Cause you
entrepreneur
see the
is.
sales numbers. You're like, well, now I'm going to
Like, oh, we can do this. These are our projections. We can do this, that, and the
Yeah.
other. The expenses will be this. And dude, we'll be millionaires in 18 months.
Yeah.
And turned out we weren't millionaires in 10 years.
Fair enough.
But we got smarter.
Yeah.
And we learned a lot of hard lessons, and we started to build a business and learned about operating in different locations and having unified phone systems and call centers and collections departments and technicians and licensing and
Yeah.
training and recruiting and hiring other young salespeople. And we learned an awful lot.
So what happened at that 10-year mark?
So it started to become a lot tougher to get work permits because our business model was bringing other young Canadian students like us down to the United States for
Yeah.
a 4-month work term under a visa program that they had. And that program just started to get harder and harder to use. They changed
Yeah.
the rules, they tightened the restrictions, it just became harder to work with. And it just started to become clear that this was not a sustainable business model for us.
Could you not just hire Americans?
Could have, yeah, but I don't know. We had this niche in Canada where like we were
There was, like,
building
an
a
experience
following. We
pretty
had
much,
hundreds of students that were coming down every year. There was an experience. It was cool. It was
And they're
different.
committed once they get there because
Very much so.
Yeah.
They were committed. That was a big part because knocking doors and going out and making your pay all on
It's
commission
easier
is
to give up.
it's very hard. Yeah, the rate at which people quit or give up, unfortunately, is a lot higher than you'd like to see. Understandably, because it's so
Being
difficult.
told no 90,
Yeah, it's-
95% of the
it's
time.
so
or whatever
hard.
is not very
Oh
easy.
yeah, like it's so hard. And so yeah, we weren't retaining talent. We weren't growing talent. Our talent was ultimately there for a short term because they were students working on temporary student visas
Yeah.
and they were going back, graduating, getting real jobs.
Yeah.
And we wanted to like grow this business. And so we realized A, it's getting harder to get these work permits, basically impossible. And B, we're not retaining our talent.
Mm.
And so why don't we try this in Canada?
Yeah.
And so that's exactly what we did. We
So
came,
Did you sell the business or what did you do?
yeah, we sold it. We didn't make much. We basically paid our bills, put a few bucks in our pocket,
Yeah.
and packed our bags and came home. And didn't have a whole heck of a lot to show for it other than a lot of experience.
So the plan off the bat was that we're going to restart this in Canada.
Yeah, that was the plan. And so we didn't want to start a pest control company here, though, because we didn't know if it would work.
Yeah.
So what we wanted to do is we wanted to get a marketing contract with an existing pest control company.
Yeah.
And so we went to all the big boys and we told them what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And they basically all laughed us out of their offices.
Okay.
They said, that may have worked for you in the US, but it's not going to work here in Canada. You don't understand the market. You don't understand the Canadian consumer. It said,
Yeah.
guys, we're Canadian. Yeah, but you haven't sold here. You haven't worked here. You've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah.
People aren't going to want this service on a regular recurring basis. That's not how we do residential pest control service here. We
Okay.
just wait for them to call, then we come out and treat for their ants, and then we wait for them to call us again in a year or two if they need us again. We don't come out on a recurring basis.
Yeah.
And no one's going to buy this door to door. Glad that worked for you in the US, but it's not going to work up here.
It's kind of naive, isn't it?
It was their experience. Yeah, we thought it
Yeah.
was naive.
But I mean, what are they going to lose by sending salespeople?
Well, that's ultimately what we said. We said, okay, fine. You're probably right.
Yeah.
You know better than us.
Yeah.
Will you let us try?
Yeah.
And finally, one said, okay, we'll let you try.
Yeah.
And so we went out, and there was like 5 of us. And the year before, we'd had 100 people in the United States knocking doors.
Yeah.
There was 5 of us.
Yeah.
And we went out and we started knocking doors, and we sold almost $1 million of pest control service that first year. We did about a smidge over 800,000 in sales.
Yeah.
And the pest control company that we were working with, it was called Terminex.
Yeah.
Terminex was one of the largest in the world at that time. And they couldn't believe it. They couldn't even believe that we had
What was
done
the
that
first
many.
city?
I was in Toronto.
Okay. Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto. We were in Mississauga area, Burlington area, south of Toronto. And it went really well.
I'm taking a bet and increasing your revenue by 800 grand is pretty,
Dude, it went
pretty
really
great.
well.
Yeah.
People were buying it. They liked the service. They
Yeah.
liked the model.
Yeah.
So they had told us the model wouldn't work coming out on a regular basis and selling that to residential pest controls. People were loving it.
Yeah.
They told us that they wouldn't buy door to door. That wouldn't work in Canada. We already knew that that wasn't going to be true. But of course,
Yeah.
you know, you still are worried. You got these
Yeah.
really smart, super
Yeah. I'm like,
experienced,
oh, maybe they
this
tried
huge
it.
multi-billion-dollar business telling you this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
And we think we know better. I mean, this time, fortunately, we did.
Yeah.
And so it went really well. And the next year we expanded, we grew the team. And then all of a sudden, pretty quickly, we were in Toronto and Vancouver. And then after another year or two, we were in Alberta,
Yeah.
in Calgary. And then another year, we opened up in Quebec. That was when I moved to Montreal.
Yeah.
We convinced them to let us sell services in La Belle Province up there
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
in Montreal. And that went really well and started growing the teams there. And it started growing and growing and growing and growing. And after a couple of years, it actually got to the point where Terminex was saying to us, guys, we can't have you do any more accounts. They put a cap on us. 10,000 a year was the max they would let us do.
Like 10,000.
10,000 new customers.
Okay.
Yeah,
'Cause
10,000.
They couldn't handle the inflow.
They didn't want more. They didn't want any more, whatever the reason. You'd have to ask them. But
maybe the growth was too hard to sustain.
maybe it was hard for them. Maybe it was the money. It's expensive, right? It's
Yeah.
an expensive way to get customers. You got sales commissions. You got to pay
Yeah.
a marketing company like us.
Yeah.
It's expensive to operate. And yeah, they put a cap on us. And so we said, okay, well, we can sell more than that. So just so you know, like we're going to have to open our own company in at least one city to
Yeah.
accommodate this overflow that you don't want. They said, yeah, fine, do it, whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly what we did. And that was in Ottawa. And that was the first year that Insight Pest Solutions was opened in Ottawa. And that was only 6 years ago.
Okay.
And a year after that, Terminex was acquired by an even larger pest control company called Rent-A-Kill.
Okay.
It's a weird name, but that's what they're called. And they new management, new ownership, new
Yeah.
company, and they decided this program is done, boys
So
and
they
girls.
just axed you guys.
They're like, this is done.
So
We're
you
not
pretty-
doing this
So
anymore.
then you had to pretty much restart.
Dude,
with your
thank
company.
God we had already started Insight because we were able to add a few more offices that year, and
Yeah.
we were able to, keep selling without
Yeah.
really an interruption. So the timing worked out really
But
well.
now you guys, I guess you're vertically integrating in a sense. You're just kind of owning the ladder. And
Yeah, so we have the marketing company. Now we own the pest control company too. So we're selling counts for ourselves.
yeah.
But now we're back to running a pest control company, which remember, we never really got that good at. And the truth is I never really got that good at it myself, but I'm really blessed to have worked with some really smart people. Brendan Quinlan, his now wife, Jessica Quinlan, really smart guys like Tollef Sturge Anderson, a guy who knocked with us down south, knocked doors with us. He's one of the 5 who started knocking doors here, is now a national service director with Insight Pest Solutions, primarily in charge of fleet management and national procurement. Jake Quinlan, Brendan's brother, is a national service director with us now. So fortunately, we had some really smart, really committed, really hardworking people who bought into this vision with us. And I'm blessed because the truth is, Brendan and Jessica, when we came back to Canada, honestly, I was kind of over it.
Yeah.
And I didn't really want to do pest control anymore. We'd just spent 10 years doing it in the States. And I was like, I think I want to do something else, maybe real estate.
Yeah.
And I kind of dipped my toe into that water for 2 or 3 months, but it became really clear really quickly that it was a tremendous success. And so thank God they stuck with it. When I kind of took a month, I was actually about 2 months off.
Yeah.
And then finally they were like, oh, it's really going well. I was like, all right, well, I'm not really liking this real estate thing.
So,
I'm going to come back. And
yeah.
fortunately, they were gracious enough to allow me to rejoin the company after
That's
a
good.
short hiatus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's now 6 years since we started Insight. And in 6 years, we've grown to the largest residential pest control service company in Canada.
That's sweet.
I think probably number 3 largest pest control company just in general in Canada, but we do more residential than anyone else.
Yeah.
And that's all we do. We don't do any commercial work. If Commonwealth here needed pest control service, we would not be the
Sticking
company to
one
call.
lane,
We
yeah.
do residential.
Yeah.
Maybe one day, but not today.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of success in that and met a lot of really great people. Fortunately, a lot of them have decided that they want to continue working with us. And we've got just an incredible team, both on the operations, on the administrative side, on the executive level side, and certainly on the sales side. Blessed to just work with extremely talented, super hardworking young people. Dude, I got 20-year-olds making 300 grand a year.
Yeah.
It's incredible the things that are being accomplished in this
And you're
business
hiring them
right
as
now.
students most of the time.
all the time.
And then
We're hiring
do they
we're
want to
hiring
go back to school
17,
after that?
18, 19, 20-year-old students
Yeah.
who usually have never done sales before. We don't know anything about pest control.
Yeah.
Oftentimes have never really had a job other than maybe the corner grocery store. And we're trying to teach them about sales and provide them an environment in which not only can they build sales skill, but hopefully grow as young people and start to grow into the adults that they will become for the rest of their
So
lives.
when a student who's like 20 or however years old goes out and makes that much money, do they want to go back to school, or do they like screw that? Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, we've had lots of people who've continued their schooling, like Brendan did, and then we've had people who took more my route, where they kind of
Yeah.
got a taste for it and decided that, oh, that's the whole reason I'm going to school. So if I can do that now and this
Yeah.
opportunity's here, I'm
And
going
they
to
actually enjoy it.
focus
They're
on
like,
that.
screw it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really interesting business, and it's been an interesting path. It's allowed me to live in tons of places. I've lived in Jacksonville, Florida,
Yeah.
Austin, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Chicago, Illinois. I spent a lot of time in California. We had branch offices up in New York, on Long Island.
Yeah.
And so just had a chance to live and work in a lot of really cool places. And then in Canada, I've lived and worked in Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal. I've knocked doors and worked in Ottawa, although never for like a full summer. Been based there, but Calgary, Winnipeg, my hometown.
Which place were you the happiest?
I mean, without question, Montreal. That's where I live now,
Yeah.
as you know.
Yeah.
I've been down there for about 7 years. I'm really blessed and lucky to have met my wife about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Oh gosh, Joanny, sorry. We met on Tinder.
Ooh, it's a success story.
It was a success.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I feel so lucky, so grateful. She's pregnant. You know this.
Yeah, that's even more exciting. Congrats again.
She's due with our first son, Maverick, in French, Maverick, on July the 2nd.
That's very soon.
Dude,
That's
soon.
that's very exciting.
It's a month today. Today's June 2nd. She's due in 1 month.
So that's where you're the happiest, and
For sure.
obviously it's a lot
But
of
it's because of her.
Yeah,
And her
because of her.
family is wonderful, and they've become my family too.
So
And
you must be pretty grateful for the career then, because it actually led you to Montreal,
totally.
of a guy from Winnipeg.
Oh
All
yeah.
over the states of how I ended up there.
I mean, as it always happens, right? But you
Yeah, it's
know,
always a
moved for a
coincidence of some
job
sort,
and
right? Yeah.
and met someone who changed my life.
And but it wasn't even instant either. It was 3 years after you're already living in Montreal.
Yeah, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. No, it wasn't right away. I was seeing someone else when I first moved there. You know, distance can be challenging. She was living here in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And you know, that's tough on any relationship.
Yeah.
Good girl. We just weren't the right match. And, you know, eventually met Joanny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's rewind a little bit.
Okay.
Your childhood, were you always like charismatic? Did you like speaking? Like, was there anything that would hint towards you eventually, like, essentially starting a career in sales, business in sales?
Well, my dad always. So my dad was a career salesman. He still is a career salesman. He still works at Investors Group. He's 30 years my senior, so he's 71 years old, and he's going to do another couple years. They've treated him really well. He still likes working. He's part-time now, but he still enjoys it. But he, I know, always taught me from a young age that he felt that the way to really achieve success, financial success in your life, was to be an owner in whatever you did, or a partner at the least. Have a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
And I think, if I'm being really honest, he probably had some regrets about never being an owner, never being a partner,
Kind of taking that lead.
being always a top salesman. So I came by it naturally. He was teaching me about sales and how to interact with people, and from a very young age, but always said, Jordan, like, if you can, own it, or at least be a partner, own a part of it. And so that was kind of why, when I first heard about College Pro at 18 years old on that campus, and the fact that I could own my own franchise, it's like, oh, that interested me immediately.
Yeah.
And then, you know, continuing in the industry, being an owner, being a partner. I don't own all of Insight Pest Solutions. I own a portion of it. I have many, 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 many talented partners who also own parts of the business in their respective provinces and their offices, and have been, I mean, we couldn't have built it without all of us, every one of them, everyone
Yeah.
has been an important part of it. But to your question of was I always charismatic? I mean, no, of course not. This is a skill that's
Yeah.
developed over time. It
Do you
comes
think
with
it's
a
a
lot of
skill everybody
practice.
can learn?
Yeah, for sure. But there's definitely people who are like more have a
Yeah, more
aptitude
natural
towards it
talent. Yeah.
more than
Yeah.
others, right? Like I think if you, yeah, I mean, there's people who you have to have a base level of communication. I think
Yeah.
you have to be comfortable communicating with someone. Even that though can be developed. I think anyone could learn sales. Obviously, some people it's just going to come a little quicker than others.
What are so some of those people where it comes quicker? What are some of the things that you notice, like any patterns, like things they've done in the past, jobs they've done in the past, or maybe like sports they played or something
I
like
think
that?
team sports, yeah, I think
Yeah.
team sports builds confidence, teaches you how to work in a team environment, which seems weird because it's like, well, why does a team environment matter in sales? Well, I think it always matters. I think the culture that develops within a sales office, within an organization, ends up being tremendously important to the development and ultimately the success of the people
Mm.
working within that. And so people who come from a team environment, I think inherently do better in these competitive sales oriented organizations, which certainly I would say we are. But I think like you don't have to be introverted or extroverted. I actually don't consider myself an introvert,
Yeah.
which if you've met me or seen me back at 441 in the day or here at your bar at Commonwealth, you might be like, well, what do you mean? You're definitely an extrovert.
Yeah.
It's like, well, no, it's not that because I can do that. But it like I think that the
Kind of
definition of
turn it
extrovert
on,
and
kind of.
introvert that I use is like an introvert you can still do that. It's just like it draws your energy down.
Yeah.
And then you have to like go back and recharge. Versus an extrovert, I think they actually gain energy
Yeah.
from being in those social environments. And so I can navigate it very well. And I've developed skills and I've built that over time. But at the same time, I can only do so much. And then I need to go away and recharge.
Are any of those skills that your dad taught you, sales skills back in the day, would you say they're timeless and kind of translate towards like sales has always been the same, always kind of the same idea?
For sure.
What are one of those skills?
I mean, people want to talk about themselves. They want to makes them feel good. They like that.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, there's like classic sales techniques that I learned from like the Zig Ziglar Secrets of Closing the Book Sale that I like stole off my dad's bookshelf from his office when I was a young man. And I still have that original copy. I learned a lot from Zig.
Yeah.
And like things like the alternative of choice close. Not like, do you want to do it? But would you rather have another drink of whiskey or another drink of tequila? Mm-hmm. Right. So I think there's like some of these sales tactics that are just like classics for a reason because they work.
I love how you said that because so when I used to sell insurance, I used to listen to like Zig Ziglar tapes, and when I started bartending, that's literally what I'd tell customers, like, "Oh, do you want another vodka or whiskey?" They'd be like, "I wouldn't even."
It's like it works, right?
Option. And it works every time.
Yeah, it's just classic tactic. It's not, do you want another drink?
No, it's which one.
Single or a double?
Yes, exactly.
Just a single? All right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Or you just even tell them off the bat, "You look like you want a double."
You look like you need to. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like, yeah, of course there's these tactics and techniques that are timeless. They work. They work. Yeah.
What would you tell somebody who wants to start a business and is 18 years old in the position you were before?
Oh yeah. Pick your partners wisely.
That's a big one.
You know that.
Yeah.
You've had many partners over the years, some great, some not so great.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like me, you've learned how important it is to pick your partners wisely. I think people you choose to do business with, the people you choose to share your life with, whether that be friends or a romantic partner, you better make those decisions thoughtfully because they're going to have a real impact on your life and how easy, hard, enjoyable, or not so much it is.
I actually just wrote about the importance of picking your business and romantic partners, like how much it matters.
I read your article. You sent it out in your blog. I think that's why it was in my head.
There you go. Well, yeah, the romantic partners have the ability to take up to half of your life, not to mention multiple years in courts, lawyer fees, and all that fun stuff. And business partners could get you sued.
Do the same.
Take your living.
I've been sued by a business partner.
There you go. So.
Yeah, yeah. In the early years, I was sued by a young business partner. He felt he was wronged. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. Who knows?
Yeah.
You settle, you deal with it, you move on. That's what we did.
Not many people are like fortunate enough to actually come to a settlement. A lot of them will.
Yeah, I don't know. I think most lawsuits end that way.
Yeah, but I mean, like sometimes you just battle it out for years before you get.
True. Well, hey, nothing happens quick. I mean, it wasn't instant. I seem to recall it was the better part of a year.
Okay.
Yeah, these things back and forth and lawyers, and they take time. In the end, it wasn't all that much money, but it sure felt like a lot of money at the time.
Where would you like to see Insight go? Like how big are you trying to grow this thing?
Uh, I mean, I'm going to make a bold statement. If you work with me, you're a sales rep, you've heard me give a presentation in the last year, you may have heard me say this, but I believe it'll be $1 billion company. And that feels really bold.
In
That,
Canada alone, or you guys expanded the
no,
States?
we're not in Canada alone. So we're already
Oh.
in the United States, Canada. We are now in our second year operating in Australia.
Oh.
So we have branches in both Melbourne and Brisbane. Really cool, really tough doing business on the other side of the world, especially when none of the executive staff are based there.
Did anybody have to go there to hire and stuff? Or
Yeah, well, guys did. I haven't myself, but
Yeah.
I've had members of my team out there for sure, business partners out there, making sure the branches operate well and get started. So we're opening another location there very soon as well.
Yeah.
Started working with another really great company there who we're partnering with, and they're going to help us expand our operations out on the other side of the world. But yeah, we've gone back to the States. We're starting to look at opening branches again in the United States as well. And so, and our US partners already do, but our Canadian partners, our group here, we're looking at building in the US again too, because the truth is our business has grown so big that at only about 35 million people here in Canada, don't fact check me, but I think it's around that.
Roughly that, yeah.
It's getting tight for us. We operate in every metro area in Canada and many small areas in Canada. We have the ability right now to service about 95+% of the Canadian population lives in an area close enough to get our services. So we operate from Vancouver Island all the way out on the west coast to Prince Edward Island on the east coast, and basically everywhere in between.
And you guys operate purely as residential, and everybody gets on like a contract where you come out?
Yep.
So the bank must love you guys.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, you know as well as I do, banks are tough to deal with.
Yes.
Definitely. Especially a business like ours. I mean, if I'm being honest, we don't own the buildings. We don't own the trucks. We lease the buildings. We lease the trucks. Some of the trucks we rent. We don't really have many assets. What we have is a revenue stream. We built a service-based company.
On contract.
We've got revenue under contract. Yeah. And so they like that better. And so, yeah, at the size that we're at now, the banks are starting to be interested. But dude, banks are tough, man. Like if you think you're going to get a small business loan from a bank to start your career path in entrepreneurship, you got a rude awakening coming, man.
Oh yeah. I think many people find that out the hard way.
You're going to have to scrap it together through savings or mom and dad or friends and family, or bootstrap it, or private money, which is very expensive right now.
Yes.
Yeah,
very expensive right now. So as you guys expand, how many countries? So you said like your bold prediction is $1 billion.
I think that $1 billion is within reach. We're about by the end of this year, we'll be about 1/10 of the way there. We'll be about 10% of the way there by the end of the year. We'll be sitting around $100 million in ARR, annual recurring revenue.
Okay. Well, then your valuation is almost going to.
Valuation could be a lot higher than that. It really depends who's valuing it.
Yeah, what multiple they want.
And if you want to sell it, which right now we don't.
Yeah.
But if you did, what would somebody be willing to pay, and how would they value that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's for smarter people than me to decide. I'm a door-to-door guy and a bug guy.
So the bankers are
I'm not a private banker. But I can tell you we're starting to work with people who are private bankers.
That's fair.
So it's cool to start to dip our toes into that world and learn a bit more about it. And Brendan, to his credit, has been really great at bringing in really smart people at the executive people. We've got a COO now who's as sharp as a tack. Oh my gosh, young man, not yet 30. One of the smartest, hardest working guys I've ever seen. He's helped whip us into shape with systems. Brendan himself has done a really phenomenal job of building the service side of the business, building the sales side of the business. My partner, his wife Jessica, has done so much on the back end side, the administrative teams, sales in the early days, but transitioning more to finance and the administrative side of actually making sure the business functions like a real business. And so, yeah, is $1 billion bold? Sure it is. But, $100 million would have been pretty bold to say 5 or 6 years ago, too.
I was going to say going from $1 million to $100 million probably feels a lot bigger than going from $100 million to $1 billion.
I mean, $100 million to $1 billion will be big. And the funny thing about a number like that is I have no idea how we'll get there.
I was just gonna ask,
No,
between here and there,
dude, no
how
idea.
do you scale 10x?
No clue. No
More
clue.
countries, no more
To like
cities.
200, 250. I think I see that path.
I mean, you could just do more cities in the States, no?
The path to $1 billion. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Interesting.
I have no idea.
But you feel like it's gonna happen.
I think that if we stay committed and work really hard, that with this group of people, we can find a way. The success that we're having in this industry, in this country, with our company, it's incredible. We're experiencing success like we just never imagined would be possible. The sales reps, the managers, the guys I work with, oh my gosh, I have 8 young men and women who I've brought into the business is on the sales side, who have now themselves become partners in the business. And there's many more than that in different sort of regions and parts of the business.
Yeah.
And so to see these people who, didn't have 10 years of experience when they came in with no experience, and over 2, 3, 4, 5 years have all of a sudden now become young entrepreneurs and business owners and had that piece of the pie that my dad told me was so important back in the day. I mean, it's amazing because now I've got phenomenal people and our goals are aligned and we're working towards the same thing. And what I've just kind of learned is that this isn't about the opportunity. It's not about the market. It's not about the competition. It's not about the weather with pest control. It's not about any of those things. It's everything to do with the people that you can manage to work with. And that's why I think we've experienced such tremendous success, so much incredible growth. We're going to grow 50% or excuse me, 100% last year to this year. We're going to double in size from 2025 to 2026, which is insanely painful.
Are you guys taking on investors?
No, we're not taking on investors at this time. And that's the interesting thing. We borrowed a little bit of money, but we're basically self-funded.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
We have essentially no debt. We've basically bootstrapped. And yes, we've had to borrow some money. It's been very expensive. Unfortunately, we have some U.S. partners, some of those guys who ran that original company who are involved in this business, and they've facilitated and connected us to that money, which has been really, really necessary. But we're now at the point where we carry virtually no debt, and we don't see ourselves taking on any debt moving forward.
If some private equity fund came up to you, like, we like your business, we see the growth, we want to give you guys $50 million to grow this thing to $1 billion.
It depends what they want for it. They're going to want a piece, and they're going to want a significant piece.
For sure.
And that's not out of the question.
Yeah.
And that's like a path that we're certainly thinking about and exploring.
Yeah.
But we're not sure.
Yeah.
We're not sure if we're going to go that route.
I guess
in some ways it could be great. In other ways it could be terrible. So I think much like we were talking about before, picking the right business partners and picking the right life partners, romantic partners, if you're going to get into business with a private equity firm, which is what you're doing,
those are big.
My gosh, you better pick the right one. So I don't know. Do you sell? Do you take on a private equity investor? Or do you just continue to build it and start drawing dividends?
A lot of people will say that you should really find your passion.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like this is your passion?
Oh yeah, not pest control, to be clear.
But
not even necessarily door to door.
Yeah.
But
so what part of that is actually the one that,
dude, building a business with other young people like I was, and being able to have a positive impact on their lives and see them grow and develop. Some of the young men and women who I've had an opportunity to grow with, just seeing them grow over the years and seeing who they are now versus who they were when I first met them is incredible. And it feels like, really, it's like, oh, really? That's the good part? You sure you don't want to just get rich? It's like, well, yeah, I want to get rich.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to get rich. I do want to do that.
But there's still the
but that in and of itself will not be sufficient.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm deeply passionate about the culture that we're building in this organization, the opportunities that we're providing for young men and young women on the service side of things, on the sales side of things, on the marketing side of things. We've had people do incredible things on the service side, not just the sales side. And like I was saying before, like our COO, who's just one of the smartest guys I've ever met. He's not 30 years old. We will not be that man's last stop. That man's going to do incredible things in his life. We're going to be a part of his story. But
if you go to
so it's cool to maybe he sticks around.
Well, it'll at the worst case, I mean, will be the CEO for a company that went from X amount to Y amount, right? And that's for him. That'll probably launch him to some other interesting companies
For
whenever,
sure.
maybe 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is.
Absolutely. And most of our sales reps, do this for a year or two.
Yeah,
And then they move on to the next phase of their career. And I'm grateful. Like, it sounds so corny, but I'm grateful that they trusted us and like worked with us for the time that they did. And yeah, it was a win-win. They sold some accounts, we made some
yeah.
money, got some customers. Hopefully they made some money, but I think bigger than that, um, hopefully they became that next version of themselves. And I hope that I was able to have a positive impact on that.
If I was to guess, I'd say that you're one of the people that thrive off of progress.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
you love seeing progress. Progress probably gives you great happiness, but it seems like it's to the point where when you see progress in people that you have some sort of link to, so people you're training, so on, then that also brings you the happiness. So that's kind of where you get, like, that's where the passion comes from, is from not only your own progress, but copy pasting it at other people, showing them the path.
100%. Seeing
Yeah.
them grow, make a ton of money, change as people, become more competent leaders, become leaders. But like the cool thing for me is that like my job has changed every year for the last like 5 or 6 years. My job has been completely different the
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah.
And that's because I've had to grow into this new version of myself to be able to lead the people who have now themselves grown. And like I think like, dude, I'm just trying to stay a year ahead of them. That's all I'm trying to do. Just make sure that like I'm a year ahead,
Yeah.
and not ahead in anything other than like, my skill set, so that I can continue to lead them and then help them next year become the version of me that I am right now.
Yeah.
And so it's like this race where I'm just trying to stay ahead.
Well, you're teaching them. You've had all these years to learn what you're learning, and you're teaching them. You're saving them years and years of time.
Oh yeah, the speed which we're seeing people advance, and like I'm seeing people advance who I work with. It's like, oh gosh, you're like 10 times more skilled than I was when I was like 5 years older than you.
Yeah.
And so to see that, and that happens so much quicker, the income that they make, it's like, wow, I didn't make that kind of money until like 10 years after you. And so to see that happening at 19, 20 years old, dude, I mean, I had a 17-year-old young man. He turned 18 during his first year working with us, and he made himself like $150,000.
That's awesome.
At like 17, turning 18. This last year, he made like over $300,000.
And
this year, who knows? The sky's the limit. It's just amazing.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the beauty of teaching, in a way, is that you take however much years, save it from the next person, and that person's going to do it to the next person.
Mm-hmm.
And that just compounds into like exponent. I mean, it sounds like a big thing to say, but exponential growth for the human race in general. Everybody's teaching the next.
Yeah, I mean, if everyone was doing this, and that's what progress is
in every.
And that's why the world has progressed as quickly.
How does it feel to be part of that?
I didn't think about it like that before.
I know it's your field is a narrow field in what you're teaching, but that's still something. It's having an impact. Like, how many people
humbling?
Do you think,
I think like humbling, maybe kind of weird.
How many people do you think you've taught in the past? I guess 17, 18 years since you started.
This is year 20. This is my 20th year. Thousands?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's funny because if you think about it, you'd have basically an arena full of people that you would have taught at that point over the.
That I've had some kind of impact on, at least. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is kind of cool when you say it like that.
What's the kind of key to breaking through to kind of getting them on board? Because it's a big thing to be able to bring yourself to knock on doors, sell something that you are literally learning on the spot, talking to somebody random. You're probably being, I don't know what the percentage is, how many people say no. I'm sure it's 90s.
The vast majority. Yeah.
So you're being told no all the time, especially as a kid, being told no as you're like 18 or something. Not easy. Like, what's the key to like getting them on board, to really committing to getting them?
Well, I think the key might be in your question there. I think there's a word you just said, which is commitment.
Yeah.
So it's different from what's the key to getting them on board. I think to get them on board, you want to paint a picture of what can be achieved while still being really honest about how hard it's going to be.
Yeah.
Which is like, kind of a tough balance. It's like, hey, this is great. This can be really cool. You can grow as a person. You can make a bunch of money. This is a great group of people to be a part of. It's a great team to be a part of. Once you're one of us, you're one of us. It's a great culture. But at the same time, this job is extraordinarily hard, and there's going to be days where you regret ever meeting me and regret ever hearing about this. And in fact, that might even be most of the days in your first year of doing this job.
Yeah.
In fact, it almost certainly will be.
Yeah.
And so I think to onboard someone, you first have to be really honest about what this is and what this isn't. This is not a path to get rich quick. This might be a path to get rich,
Yeah.
but it won't be quick and it won't be easy. Then what does it take to actually succeed? I mean, that's where the question or the answer was in your question, which is commitment. Because like what I've realized is that we're all going to face like tremendous hurdles in anything that we do.
Yeah.
You had it here. Somebody threw a firebomb through your front window and damn near burned the place down. And you were closed for how long?
9 months.
9 months.
10 months.
10 months.
Yeah.
No income.
Yeah.
No nothing. A nightmare with insurance. Loss of all the momentum that you'd built. No staff. They're all gone. They've moved on.
Yeah.
So you're starting over. And so when something like that happens, if you're not already committed, and something like that can very often be enough to make you ask, should I really be doing this anymore? Maybe I should just move on. Maybe I should just try something else. Maybe this isn't for me. And so I think the key to succeeding in door-to-door sales, of all things, selling pest control, but really anything that you choose to do is deciding in advance that you're going to be committed to it. Maybe not for life, but for a period of time, whatever that period is for you. Maybe for the bar, for you, is, hey, I'm going to do this for 3 years. Maybe for a sales rep and what I do, it's just going to be 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
But just like deciding, hey, for these, so for them, I'll speak in that context, 3 or 4 months, when I face a challenge, it's not going to be a question of should I keep doing this? It's simply going to be a question of how do I overcome this challenge?
Yeah.
I think that's really important in just about anything that you do. Because if you're constantly trying to decide if you should keep doing this thing, that's a heck of a lot of energy you're not spending on solving the problem.
Yeah.
We do this series called the Vantage Weekly.
Yeah.
We send it's like a video, newsletter, and interviews with sales reps who are having success, and we send it out to all the sales reps in the company. We do it every week. Most of them, Brendan hosts. Last week he was traveling down in Utah for business, and he asked me if I wouldn't mind hosting it, and so I did. And I made reference to a quote that I'd recently heard from Marty St. Louis, coach of the Montreal Canadiens, who just had one heck of a postseason playoff run. It was very exciting being from Montreal. I'm still a Winnipeg Jet fan at heart, but this was not an easy year to be a Jets fan, and this was a pretty good year to be a Habs fan.
My dad and my brothers are all Montreal fans, so it's I've been hearing about it.
Dude, I bleed blue. I'm a Winnipeg Jets fan for sure, but this was a pretty good year to be a Habs fan and live in Montreal. And so I started watching more of the games. And so it was really exciting through postseason watching what they did. It was great. I actually lived in the same building as Cole Caulfield. I bumped into him in the mailroom back in September, which I only remember because it was just after Joanie and I had gotten married.
Yeah.
And he was gracious enough to do a selfie with me. But yeah, so big Habs fan. But Marty St. Louis, one of his postseason interviews, not that long ago, a couple of weeks ago, some of the media guys have been hearing some of the players say this term bounce forward.
Okay.
And so they asked Marty and they said, Marty, we've heard some of the players say this term bounce forward. We understand that's a term that you kind of coined or invented. Can you tell us about what that means to you?
Yeah.
And his response was kind of humorous, but basically what he said was, well, I mean, you don't want to bounce back after a challenge or after a defeat, because if you bounce back, you're back to the version of yourself that you were before the challenge.
Yeah.
When you bounce forward, you actually come out of the challenge better for it. You come out changed.
Yeah.
And that challenge that you've had to overcome and figure out how to resolve or work through, or if it's a defeat in hockey, how to adjust. Well, you should come out actually a sharper and better version of yourself after that challenge. And so he kind of used this term bounce forward.
Yeah.
So I like that term. I like that term in my business, but I think I like that term in anything that you do, because I think the key to success in this job, in sales, but truly in anything that you do, whether you're an entrepreneur running a restaurant and have to deal with terrible things like you did here, or any challenge, is that if you can be committed to it, then when you face those challenges, they're not a question of, am I going to keep doing this? But it's just a question of, how do I overcome this? And how am I going to bounce forward and be a better version of myself after that challenge? And because we're going to face challenges and hurdles all the time, if we can approach them with that way, those are going to mold us into one heck of a incredible version of ourselves if we allow them to.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a long answer to a simple question.
It's a story. Actually, I was going to say there's two things that I noticed that you're actually very good at. One is storytelling,
Mm-hmm.
and two, I guess, would actually be hiring as well. And
Hiring?
yeah, because you must be good at hiring too if you've had that kind of impact, that kind of
Dude,
growth.
like I just feel like I've gotten so lucky hiring. I don't think I'm particularly great
Part of the
at
skill of
it.
hiring is also attracting the right people.
True, true. I just feel like I've been so blessed to be lucky enough to meet some really phenomenal people
Yeah,
and then been, worked really hard to make sure that we create a culture in which they want to continue working and that they themselves can accomplish and achieve incredible things. And I look at a big part of my job right now is just removing as many of those roadblocks as I possibly can for them
yeah.
and making it as easy as I can for them, knowing that it's never going to be easy for them, but still at the same time always trying to make it as easy as it can be.
Hiring's one of the things I was looking more into because one of the things I realized is very true. Something that Steve Jobs said is like A players attract A players. They don't want to work with B players. And then if you hire B players, they attract C players, and C players attract D players, and so on.
I think that's
And
true.
it's something like in a restaurant, like what I have here. It's like we've been blessed to have an excellent team, and a couple of times maybe a couple of B players came in, and I made sure to like we try to move on fast when that happens because it kind of poisons the well to say, but attracting the right.
What they
people.
say, hire slow and fire fast.
Yes. But it's also the same thing as like if you're able to attract the right people in the first place. So another story I heard is like there's been a lot of praise going around like how good Elon Musk is at hiring because he's somehow running 6 insane companies, but it's obviously not him doing all the work. There's incredibly talented people, but it's because he's able to attract the incredibly talented people. It's like, okay, why is he able to attract it? It's all he has these crazy missions. Like we're going to go to Mars, right? So it's like, oh, somebody wants to work.
We're going to build rockets and we're going to build a colony on Mars.
So it's like if you're interested in doing anything with space, where are you going to go work? You're not going to go work anywhere else. But the guy who's like bold enough to be like, I'm going to dump all my money and go to Mars.
Well, people want to work with winners.
Yeah.
And so like I think the more wins you can rack up, the more
do
talent you're going to attract. And they want, good. So like they want to do bold things.
And you're like, oh, this guy's doing 100 million an hour and he wants to go to $1 billion. That sounds like a pretty good mission to jump on.
Who wants to come help figure out how we're going to build this to $1 billion? Because I sure as shit don't know. And I'm definitely not going to be able to do it. Like we can't do it with the people we have now. The people that we have now are exceptional.
Yeah.
And they're going to be a massive part of it, but we're going to need to bring in many more exceptional people if that's going to be even remotely possible.
I'll use the Mars analogy again. Is when Elon decided that he wants to go to Mars, nobody knew exactly how he was going to do it. He knew what the challenges he might have to overcome along the way, but he just knew the mission. So I know it's a little bit different than going to play sales, but it's still a bold statement. It's like, okay, we're going to do it, but we don't know how, but we're going to figure out the way. I trust that I have the team to do it. I've surrounded myself with the right people, so on. Attracted A players. Obviously, you're an A player, so you attracted other A players like Brennan. You attracted each other, and so on, and continued to grow from there. So it's pretty awesome to see that growth.
It's cool. Yeah, I definitely feel like just personally, I've changed a lot. I don't know. You've known me for a long time. I don't think I'm the same person that I was 5 years ago. I don't think you are.
If it was the same 6 years ago, we'd have finished this bottle of whiskey.
Dude, we might have finished that before we started recording. But those were fun days, man. Yeah. I look back on that time in my life, and you and I spent a lot of time together, and we're running the bar together and out there, and oh man, what a fun time.
It was a fun time.
It's so much fun. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
So when I think about, because we talked a lot about career business stuff so far, but now we're kind of touching on the topic of fun. So what else do you put into your life in order to make it a happy life? So obviously you have to have some sort of element of fun. Fun might be a little bit different than now. Like how do you have fun nowadays between all this growing your business to create?
Yeah, well, I don't go out to 441 Main on a Friday night anymore.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder to do that now.
Yeah, well, it doesn't even appeal to me anymore. Really, yeah, it doesn't.
Well, it's because you have an amazing wife now. You don't need.
Yeah, and so for me, fun is spending time sitting in the backyard with my father and my hopefully soon to be brother-in-law and my sister and my stepmom here. My mother and stepfather recently moved to Montreal. Well, not so recent now, about a year ago, last June. And they came out there to be close to Joannie and I.
So they moved specifically.
That's awesome. They knew we were planning on starting a family, and it was really important to them. They wanted to be a part of the lives of our future children. And so they moved out there, and so they've gotten settled there. So fun to me now is like spending time with the people I love, spending time with
I was gonna say
you,
you just dipped
Nick.
into the whole family part because obviously good relationships are great.
Yeah, but like, my closest friends, which you're of course one of.
Thank you.
It's fun for me to spend time with you. But my parents, my sister, um, my wife's family, Joanne's family, soon to be my son, my parents out there in Montreal, my friends. That's fun to me now. Our jam nights. That would still be
It'd
fun,
probably still be fun.
dude. If we
We
lived
just
in the
couldn't do
same
it as
city,
often as
that
we
would be
prefer.
fun. We just wouldn't go to 4 for 1 after and stay up until 4 in the morning,
Yeah.
maybe. But the jam nights would still be fun. But I started golfing a bit again. I hadn't really golfed much in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
So I started doing that again this fall. That's kind of ignited an old passion for me. It's good to have a hobby,
Mhm.
right? Good to have something that's hard that you're working on that's separate from everything else in your life. And so for me, that's been golf.
Yeah.
Definitely a work in progress. Golfing in Pinawa the other day. I don't need to recite my score, but it wasn't what I'd hoped.
Well,
Yes,
it's a work in progress. So
yeah, and so that's fun. Getting better at stuff like that is fun. Spending time with Joanne is fun. Her family, my family, still my friends. It's just like what we do has pivoted and is
Yeah.
no longer the same. It's like now, if it's my friends, I got a lot of friends in Southern Ontario.
Yeah.
Brendan, Jessica, Jake,
Yeah.
a lot of the people who we've mentioned here today, many people who we haven't. And so, spending time with them at the cabin and their children now, that's fun.
Yeah. That's good. So you have that element of fun.
Yeah.
You figured out fun has changed a little bit.
Yeah.
You have
It's changed.
the good relationship with your family. You're starting a family of your own.
Yeah.
Are you still hunting? Are you still into?
Oh man, I would really love to get back into it. Yeah, I got into waterfowling for a while, ducks and geese here in Manitoba. It's not as good out in Quebec, and that's part of the problem. But also, it's a big time commitment. That happened to be just at a period of my life where I had some of that time here and there. It wasn't quite as crazy and busy yet, and so yeah, I'd like to get back into that, but haven't yet. It's been about 5 or 6 years since I've really been out waterfowling.
So over the next 5 years, let's say, what different changes are you going to make to your life to kind of keep pushing it to continue to be happier?
Well, children is going to mean there's going to be some
meaning
changes,
multiple.
right? There's going to be changes of priorities, changes of how we spend our time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd like to have 2 kids.
Okay, I was going to say,
So,
that sounded a little blurry.
Dude, I'd like to have 4 or 5, Joanne. But, she said she thought 2 would be a good number, and I agree.
She's
That's
the one
a good
that has to
number.
push them out.
Yeah. Her job, her involvement in the situation is a little tougher than mine. I get kind of the fun part, right?
I'm the same way. I'm always like, how many kids?
Right. But yeah, we'd like to have a couple of children.
Yeah.
And so what does the next 5 years look like? I mean, I've told Joanne she's got to give me 10 more years of working really, really hard.
Yeah.
So that's my goal, is to work really hard for another 10 years and then to dial it back a bit. But I just had my 41st birthday. Shouldn't have said that part. People would have thought I was only 31, I know. But I just had my 41st birthday. And so I figured till I'm 50 is kind of my goal. I want to go pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to build something that, is going to impact some lives and is going to matter and, is going to allow me to provide for my family and not just us, but, our future generations yet to come. That's kind of the goal. And so, yeah, that's certainly changed. And I know it's ambitious, but that's what I'd like to do. And so I figure I can give it 10 more really intense years.
Do you think after those 10 years, you'll settle down a bit, have more time with your kids maybe? Do you ever think you'll have the energy or the drive to start another company to try to build something else?
Maybe. I know, like, I have my retirement hobby picked out.
What is it?
My retirement business hobby.
Okay.
I
I have mine too, so I'm so curious.
I want to buy a nice plot of land north of Montreal, maybe close to Tremblant somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'd like to develop a little like A-frame kind of campground, Airbnb kind of setup, maybe like a little community park and a pool in the middle, hot tubs at each of them, like a little kind of campground resort. And be great to have friends and their kids out there, family get together, and then kind of run it as a business, but a little bit of more of a passion project than anything. So that's kind of my business retirement plan.
That's cool.
To keep busy.
You got it mapped out then.
Yeah, I got an idea. But no, 10 years from now, my idea may completely change. And I'd be maybe like, screw this. I'm going to freaking I don't know.
Going back to
Portugal. I'm
Jacksonville.
going to live in Portugal.
Going
Like
back to
I'm going to
Jacksonville.
Spain. I'm going to Portugal. Like
Yeah.
we'll travel around, but no. I don't know. That's my plan right now, and it may change.
Fair.
That's how I feel now.
Are you a happy person?
Yeah, I am a happy person. I feel like blessed. To be honest, honestly, I just feel like lucky. There's days where I'm not happy.
Why do you
For
feel
sure.
so lucky?
But
Is it
like
because the life you created is because you feel lucky, or
honestly, like my parents are still alive. I've got family that loves me and I love them. I've got great friends I care about. And I've met a woman who is just like my best friend and who I'm just happy to spend. Oh God. Keep my voice steady. Just happy to spend every day with.
yeah,
And I'm excited to, be building a family with her, which in a month is about to happen. Little Maverick is about to
yeah, it's like so exciting.
come into the world.
Yeah,
Dude, I'm like, I don't know, say like low key. I'm gonna say it on your podcast, but I'm like so scared. I'm so
everybody's
scared,
scared of me.
dude. So scared. I've been talking like
But you're gonna
I've been on the
you're gonna
road.
be a
I've been
great
on the
dad,
road
though.
for the last 2 weeks and like staying in like hotels in Calgary and like just talking to anyone listening. Like, you got kids? Yeah. Were you scared? I'm scared. Talk to me. I'm just like they're like, okay, bro. Like, I gotta go. Have a good night.
So you're gonna be. I could already tell you've like shifted to dad mode already. So like, I think you're gonna be a great dad.
Maybe,
Just
but
saying.
I'm not like I'm not worried that I'll be bad,
yeah,
but I'm scared.
yeah,
It's just like it's so much responsibility.
and a big change in responsibility too.
Dude, a big change. And so it's like, yeah, I'm not like worried. I know that I care deeply
Yeah,
and that I'm like pretty smart. So I know I'll figure it out.
yeah,
It'll be all good, but I'm still so scared.
that's fair. Well, it's exciting. We definitely are gonna have to do this again because I'm curious on how things are gonna change after
Yeah.
my kid.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So I think it's a good place to wrap it up. I think
Yeah, me too.
it's exciting. So thank you for being on my podcast.
Of course.
Thank you for being my friend for 10, 11, however many years it's been.
Of course.
I have to come out to Montreal soon to see you.
You do, bro.
Saying
I've
this
been
for 6
bugging you to
years.
get out there.
I'm going to.
One of these days, you're really going to have to show up.
I will. Thank you.
Nick,
Yeah.
love you, buddy. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for listening to the Now with Nick podcast. This week was with Jordan Earl. I'll make sure to connect all of his social media platforms into the description below. If you did enjoy this podcast episode, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you use to listen to it. And you can also follow me on all social media platforms at Now with Nick. I'll also put those links below. Thank you for listening and be loved.